Hello, everyone. This is part two of Pantheism. I'm talking about Pantheism with my friend Alexiel here. Welcome back to the channel, Alexiel, even though we were just doing part one not too long ago.
Hello.
And so as far as Pantheism goes, we're going to make some spiritual and scientific, kind of combinations of perspectives that actually relate to one another fairly well. So, a day of Brahma, for me, from my own gnosis and from some research, of course, a day of Brahma is a Big Bang. So we have the singular point, and then we have a Big Bang that begins the day of Brahma. It's like daybreak. And then the universe keeps on expanding, keeps on expanding. Then, eventually life will start coming into being, just naturally, because this universe can support it, and we have all the right materials, we have all the right energies, we have all the right, the souls ultimately. A day of Brahma, the universe will expand and expand and expand, slowly, slowly, slowly stop expanding, and then it'll start coming back into a point. Now, scientists call this the rubber band effect. So when everything starts coming back to another point, which isn't going to happen for billions of years, by the way, many billions, but maybe not into trillions, because it's happening quicker than scientists believe. There's an idea that this universe can last for trillions of years, and then everything will just die off and not come back together. But my understanding, and with many scientists' theories, is that we will have the rubber band effect. So a day of Brahma is the manifestation of the Big Bang, and then coming back. And then a night of Brahma is when everything comes back to a singular point, a very, very incalculable dense point, for the same amount of time that everything was, birthed, expanding, the Big Bang, and then coming back, an equal amount of time of everything coming back to a single point, maybe even the size of a pea. And it's almost impossible to picture everything that all the universes, all the galaxies in this universe, there's more galaxies than there are grains of sand on the earth. Everything coming back to a singular point that's the size of a pea. It's almost impossible for us to picture that. But this is kind of, for me, is what a day and night of Brahma is. And I see the connection between Big Bang's rubber band theory and days and nights of Brahma. And, this cycle keeps on happening. So why does this cycle keep on happening? What is the point of a day and night of Brahma? So the point is that there must be a canvas upon which souls can realize their true nature. And we make progress in the day of Brahma. We make more and more progress through our millions of lifetimes. And some of us will go to astral realms. Now, in Norse mythology, Norse understanding of the multiverse, rather, even Ragnarok, which is kind of like when the night of Brahma starts in a Norse version. I'm very lightly combining these things. There are certain dimensions that are said to be above Ragnarok. So the dimension of the Light Elves, which is above the dimension of the Aesir. When I say world, I mean dimensions, really. The Light Elves will not be affected by Ragnarok, will not be affected by something like a day and night of Brahma. Those dimensions are astral and will not be affected. But when it comes to material dimensions and ones that are very close to material dimensions, up and down, Yggdrasil, various dimensions around it, we will definitely be affected by it. But as a soul, we can get closer and closer to the source. And the whole point is to do exactly that, evolve our consciousness continually. And, some of us might actually make it to something like the realm of the Light Elves or an astral dimension that is not as affected. And, Haranya Loka, which Swami Sri Yukteswar, which is the master of Paramahansa Yogananda, Haranya Loka is an astral world where he is teaching people right now. Now, most of the astral will be affected, but not all. And the causal will not be affected at all, which is higher than the astral. So what happens in the astral, it's not as much a big cataclysm, but beings and souls slowly withdraw themselves back to a certain point. It's not as cataclysmic as it is in the material realms. But no matter how much progress you make in the day of Brahma, it actually is basically saved. And this is Hindu understanding. It is saved and then once you start the next day of Brahma, once everything expands again after being a night of Brahma, then you kind of start off with the same consciousness that you reached before. You might be disembodied for millions of years for everything to form, but none of the progress that you make spiritually is lost. All of your progress remains safe. So just because there's a night of Brahma, you don't lose your spiritual progress. So at this point, I think that I will pass it over to you about maybe dark matter, because I have less information on that, but it sounds like something that you understand better than myself. So what is dark matter? Why does it exist? What does it do?
Well, nobody knows that.
That's true.
Thing about it. And I really believe a lot of what you were saying, like the astral realms, how you describe them, like how they are actually this realm. You know, there are realms that are higher than this, but there is a lot of stuff in this realm that we cannot perceive. And I believe that that is what dark matter is. And I don't know why scientists aren't talking about it in that way. You know, they're aiming all their, different, instruments into space to try to figure out why they can't see it. But I think it's pretty easy to think that, like, whoever created us could just make it to where you can't see that, like bees even can see colors we can't see. So how difficult is it to think that a being that is higher than us mentally could program their world to be invisible to our human senses, Like, how many dimensions of space are there literally here that we just are not programmed to be, perceptible to humans, Like, I feel like dark matter just describes the spirit realm and, where people go right after they die, and angels, guardian angels, all that. And, the idea of heaven and hell, or, why there could be like more universes that we can't see, or why there could be life that can somehow, if there are UFOs, clearly they're not, closing the distance between here and Andromeda, who knows if they can just turn themselves on and off, They could be right here in front of us.
Yeah, everything kind of like a lot of different dimensions existing in the same space, but at different
Right.
frequencies. So that's what
Right.
we're talking about. Yeah.
Yes.
It is interesting to think that, consciousness, as far as frequency goes, making it higher or lower, as far as the hells go, there are lower dimensions which are actually like, I wouldn't say ultra material. According to some Hindus, the hells actually exist in the astral realm, but they are parts of the astral realm that are very confined and who have a nature that's not enjoyable to be in. It's not necessarily that you were tortured with pitchforks and burned all the time.
Right.
It's more of a place of darkness and fear. And to get your consciousness to that level of darkness and fear, to where there's just that animal instinct, that desire for power, and then that's all that's there. You have to do a lot of bad stuff, because if you do a lot of bad stuff during your life, you might go down the totem pole and be born as a donkey or a fish or something like that. To actually get to your consciousness to the level of something like a hell requires a lot of terrible things. Like somebody who's a very masochistic serial killer, or somebody who,
Many lives.
yeah. So like you have to do like very bad things for many lives, and then like it's like, okay, well, you're a problem. So like the natural nature of the universe will put you down. And it's something that, a lot of people say, you'll go to hell if you don't accept Jesus Christ as your savior, or you'll go to hell if you do this sin or that sin. That is actually that fearful consciousness is also an aspect of hell.
Right.
So you can be in hell here, just from your just from your perspective, just from the thoughts you focus on. So the fear, like when we talk about hellfire preachers, them placing fear in you, that fear you experience of, oh, please God, don't send me to hell. I'm so sorry for stealing that candy bar and all that. Even if it's very light stuff, they say is incredibly bad.
Yeah.
That is very hellish. You're making God into the devil, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
And it's much more than that. And the multiverse is very large, and we get obsessed with our own little, worlds, but we're a very small part of the universe, even just this universe.
Yeah, and I really thought about this, like whole idea of, when you get to the point of being able to let go of everything, once you're really to that level of enlightenment, there's no such thing as hell. Like you could be in hell, but you're so solid in your selfhood that you could not be affected by that. And I kind of feel like that is really how hell works is if you do nothing to, you know, progress yourself, your mind just naturally slips into that. And when you are reincarnated and you have that mindset, it's kind of like I kind of look at my life and I feel like I have a lot of bad karma from a past life because literally I've been a very virtuous person and I try not to say things like this because they sound so egoic. But as a child, I never lied. And I have kids now and they lie continuously. It's like I was like, I was better when I was 4 than every 4-year-old I've met. But my life was just so terrible. Like I had to have been like Hitler in my past life or something because I did not acquire this karma in this life. I know that factually. And I kind of look at everything that happens like, okay, well, this is the karma that this life is for. And my next life, and I really feel this like, this is my life to burn this karma, and I'll have one more life because I literally just want to have this life one more time, but be free of the karma before I am free of incarnations. And I believe that deep in my soul, that that's how my incarnation cycle is going. But yeah, I feel like it's a perspective thing. If you are ready to die, then dying is heaven. And if you're not, it's hell. You're clinging to so many things. My car, is my son gonna be able to take care of the company when I'm gone? Like, what are people gonna know about all my secrets I've hidden? If you've got all that stuff when you die, like you've got that baggage, when you go. And I feel like no matter what it is, like there's no way it would be not heaven. Like if I came back here and was as awake as, I would assume, I would hope by the end of my days, I'm awake as a true master. But, if I die in that, I feel that, the next life is heaven. Like, even if I am an ignorant cattle and I'm in a slaughterhouse, like, I would gladly go to the slaughter. My body does not belong to me. Like, I give it away back to the universe freely in whatever form. Once you get to that level, I'm not at that level obviously yet, but that's what I aspire to be at. And I feel like, no matter what you are, like if you are at that level, that's heaven, even before you die.
So yeah, that I totally get that, man, and I think that I'll be here for more lifetimes than I'd like to be because of my attachments. But one thing that Kriyananda said, he said, you know, if you still have a desire for cigarettes in the astral realm, there it cannot provide you with cigarettes. If you still have a desire for worries, now we might think of, oh, we don't have worries, but a lot of people attach themselves to the consciousness of worrying about things, and the higher planes of the astral realm, assuming that they're not the hells in the astral realm, they can't provide you with something to worry about. So
Right.
we have to reach a state where we can move on. And one thing that I think everybody should take to heart is something that's fairly shocking that I learned from Hanumansi Yogananda, that even gods, in order to reach complete unification with the source, have to come back down here in order to liberate themselves, to completely liberate themselves. They must come back to something on the level of a human. Gods perform different functions, and it's probably very pleasant in certain ways to be a god, and it might be unpleasant in other ways. And you have all this power, but to reach full enlightenment, something like on an avatar level, you have to do that here through your efforts. You might have all this power as a god, but but just imagine basically this tree that when you become a god, it's a stick that ends, and you have to
Right.
come back down here and then go up to the endless trunk, through the endless trunk. So that's something that we should keep at heart as human beings, because it's actually it's very wonderful to think, because a lot of us could have been gods in former lives and just don't remember it. But we came back here to actually achieve that level of consciousness that we need to gain unity with the source. Does that make sense?
Utterly, completely, yes.
All right. So in kind of closing here, is there any advice that you would have for somebody who is trying to, you talked some, and I've talked some about, we're going to experience bad karma, and you might not get it in this life, and it might feel like it sucks. I've had situations like that where I can't find a romantic relationship that works. I feel like that's an influence from my past life or lives. And I don't feel like it's mainly due to anything that I've done here, though. I don't say that all the relationships, they ended because it wasn't my fault. Now, I certainly had a play in it, a hand in it. But we are dealing with karmas that accumulated over multiple lives, so it can be frustrating. Is there anything that you would tell people as far as like being hopeful and just keep on moving forward? Anything in that realm?
Yes, I feel like the main thing with being pagan is the manifestation aspect, and scientifically it is proven that your brain is an electronic device, essentially, that works in a magnetic field. There have been studies that, and it is very difficult to conduct these studies, but studies have suggested that the brain wouldn't work as well if we lived on a planet that did not have a magnetic field. And I feel like the magnetic field is how your brain is able to manifest things. It's a scientific thing. You tune your brain to a vibration, the magnetic field of the earth responds to that vibration. And so the only way to change your life is to change that vibration. It's the same as like, if you're listening to, the radio and it's hip hop playing, but you want to listen to rock music, you can't just keep yelling at the radio, but play something else. You got to change the channel. And I feel like that's how the brain works. And I speak as, to me, I'm one of the most depressed people I know. I literally know one other person in my life who is more depressed than me. And it's been a journey for me using this exact philosophy to pull myself out of chronic depression. It wasn't drugs and it wasn't therapy. I'm not close to therapy. I still want therapy, but without therapy, without drugs, just the philosophy of changing my wavelength, the frequency my brain operates on, and continuously committing to that, I've been able to pull myself out of depression most of the days of my life, and actually started to manifest, real things in my life because of that. And I feel like, even if you're not a spiritual person, even if you're an atheist, you can tune your brain to manifest things in this life scientifically.
Totally, man. I can second all that. That's really good advice. I suppose, is there anything that you want to plug here at the end as far as contacting you or groups that you're in that you like to plug?
Oh, yeah. You can contact us at solidbandia.com. We've just got some new courses that release. If you check us out on Facebook.
How do you spell that?
SAOLBANDIA. It's Gaelic. It means the goddess life. The actual full name of our company is Salbandia, the goddess life. My wife is Gaelic, and she really wanted to keep to her ancestry when she named it. So, she wanted to make it something that she had to teach people every time they were like, "What does that mean?" Like, it's a whole lesson. So you could contact me. I'm Alexiel at Facebook, or Hallie Walker. She's an amazing person. I'm sure she'll probably do a video with you sooner or later. But we work together, and you can contact either one of us if you have any questions, or obviously you can contact Hunter. We've pretty much dedicated our lives to getting this kind of information to people, so yeah, just contact either of us.
For sure. Yeah, I'm glad that you supplied that because I actually forgot about the courses you were talking about. That sounds really interesting, though. I'd love to take a look at those for sure. Yeah, everybody, you can contact me at www.facebook.com/hunter.salazar. And of course, you're on the YouTube channel, so you of course know my YouTube channel. At any rate, thank you very much, Alexiel, for joining me today. It has been a wonderful part 1 and 2 tonight.
Yes, thank you for having me.
No problem. And I hope to see all of you on the channel in the future.
Later.